than $100 per person for 19 jurors. It's not possible. They can do it for that expense. They're not going to bear the cost of the travel. They're going to charge us for their travel. They're going to charge us for their hotel stay. They're going to charge us for transporting all the materials up here. We're going to have to find a space large enough to hold the training in one location. You have in that training approximately, was there about six or seven different topics that they teach, involving actually more than 7 different instructors for that training. Their training takes place over a 2-day period. So what we're looking at is paying the Grand Jurors Association, if they're willing to do so, to transport all of their training materials and their staff up here to do that training on site here in Mendocino County. And I don't think you're going to get that much of a savings out of it. What you also lose when you do a training like this, to show you that we have considered this, is that you do not have the chance for the jurors to meet with jurors from other counties, to hear the problems that other jurors have experienced in the counties, what experiences they've had in investigating things in other counties, what issues have popped up in other counties that may actually be applicable to Mendocino County. They're depriving Mendocino County of additional facts, information, and viewpoints that may benefit the citizens of Mendocino County when we write our reports. That is what you lose when you have on-site training rather than sending out the jurors to a single location or 2 different locations. In this case, we go, a couple people will go to Sacramento, most everybody will go to Concord for the training. This is one of the few instances where the grand jury gets to broaden its perspective. And a broader perspective is better, I think, for the county as a whole when we get to the end, to get to the bottom line of how things are done.
I understand all of your points. I'm just going on comments that our CEO made, that they brought a trainer into Calaveras. The other option that you could use is only sending new grand jurors to an out-of-county training. These are just ways that you know, I know that basically you feel, bottom line, you don't have enough money to operate. Every department in this county doesn't feel it has enough money to operate. I haven't had one department head saying, our budget's fine, we're doing fine. We really don't, you know, we can absorb the 6% based on the 6% from the prior year, the 6% reduction from that year, and that's just how it goes. But no one's telling us that they have enough money. So the standard that you're using for applying, do you have enough revenue to do what you perceive your job to be, is a dilemma that everyone faces. But I think the response that we are looking for is that here are the things that we've done in concrete terms, and you've mentioned some, and some cost savings that you've achieved, but I think there are additional ones, and everyone's asking to dig deeper and find more of those. And so I'm just going to the CEO's comments previously that a trainer could be brought in and it would produce cost savings. If you explore that and find that that's not the case, then so be it. But I think that these are the kinds of things that we absolutely all need to be paying attention to.
Kendall, I would like to speak to the training issue because I've been a trainer professionally for a fair amount of my life and a trainer of volunteers. When you are dealing with educated novices, which is what I believe virtually all grand jurors are, you know, we're not experienced with the courts, we have some areas of knowledge. Turning untrained volunteers or minimally trained volunteers loose on tasks like those of the grand jurors, I think is imprudent, to put it mildly. I can't tell you the number of times that training that we get and the collegial exposure to other jurors that is accomplished there, it's just invaluable at allowing a panel to come together as a bunch of educated novices and move forward with this work. Yes, you could probably reduce the amount of training given to returning jurors. I can tell you I've done it twice, and I did the foreman pro tem training once and learned a tremendous amount the second time. I don't doubt that if I went again, I would also learn more. But you could cut there. That's theoretically possible. But boy, I think you're opening up to, you know, some liability issues and just a lack of preparation to perform that really does concern me. I would like to say Finley has been out. He's been extremely ill. And the last few weeks we've talked a lot about cost saving, and we really are working on it. And let me give you a few examples. When committees have finished, as Finley has said, we've got a few reports that are now concluded. Those committees are giving up time slots, which means they're not coming together as a group. That is enabling some of the rest of us to come in to work on reports for a full day. that is tremendously economical when you've got 5 coast jurors. And I have to tell you, it's rigorous to commute from the coast, as you very well know. Therefore, you tend to get jurors from the coast who are some of your most active jurors. It's kind of ironic, but just the fact that there's a big hurdle to get here, we take it very seriously or we don't do it at all. And when we come, we want to put in a full day's work. We've got coast jurors who are not coming on purpose because they're down to a half day's work. We're juggling those meetings so they can come together. That is having a major cost saving. I know one juror who's been running $700-800 a month. I think this month her expense is $300. Mine is down a couple of hundred by being able to coordinate meetings. We've been having some meetings on the coast where we've got 2 inland jurors who can carpool and come to the coast, and that's saving at least 2 cars heading the other way. So you're saving at least 1 car there. And these are all-day meetings, as I said, so that's kind of a big one. And I think we're going to be able to do more of this as we move through. But Finley is correct. Oh, another thing, you know, you always see a lot of citizen complaints. We're putting them through a fine screen. We're not adopting complaints unless there is some urgency about them. We're either not adopting them or we're referring them. We've picked up a couple that do have some urgency, and we've taken them. But they're going through a very fine screen at this point in the year. We're not picking up more work. We're trying to economically complete what we have. And I can tell you that is the mindset of every individual juror, that we're looking for ways to conserve. So I'll stop there.
Okay.
But,
thank you. We need to move this forward.
Yes.
As I said earlier, what we're trying to do here today is get the departments that are over budget to come in with, hopefully to come forward, and we understand that you're not coming forward any savings, so
We have no profit centers,
Okay.
Supervisor. If I did, I'd be glad to
I appreciate you showing up.
to do that.
I appreciate you responding to our request to show up here today. And Supervisor McCallum, we need to move on here.
Well, we are also looking forward to the next year, and I do appreciate the efforts that have been made at cost savings, but again, I would encourage you to do more. And we will see what the judge determines for the current year. I'm confident the judge will authorize funds for the grand jury to complete this year's work. But I'd like to ask, I think I understood you to say your shortest report was 26 pages and your longest was 153?
Yeah, and I'm talking about the total report, you know, the final reports that come out.
Annual, on an
The
annual.
the total annual report. There may be,
Okay.
for the one that had 26 pages in it.
No, I understood the response,
Okay.
so thank you. But
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the training. And when I was on the grand jury, we didn't have any training, and I think we did pretty well. And one advantage that the grand juries have is increasingly over the last 20 years, there's been, I would almost say, an effort towards professionalizing the grand jury. So there's very intensive screening before people are accepted into the pool to make sure that they have certain skills, that they have the ability to devote a very significant amount of time. And it's led to a situation where the grand jury predominantly is either people who are retired or they have independent means. I think you probably have relatively few people that are working a 9-to-5 job because it's simply not possible with the schedule you've set for yourselves. So I think that there could be some adjustments to the schedule, and we talked about this last time. Maybe the grand jury doesn't need to meet every week. Also, I do think that the out-of-county travel for the training could simply be eliminated. And we have the institutional memory of the jurors who are holdovers who can point the way for the other jurors in how to do their work. So I would hope that for the next year, in working with the executive office and the presiding judge, that there could be some common agreement on how the grand jury can be adequately funded and yet be mindful of the budget situation of the county.
And I wouldn't